All right. Let's get it. What up? What up? Good morning. What's the move? Oh, we'll see. Let me see. Honestly, I have no idea. We got to see how this 5-minute plays out. So far, we're in bullish territory. Hold on, give me a second. We're in bullish territory. Let's wait for this. Got like 2 minutes left for this 5-minute candle to close. And then I'll get a better idea of what's going on. Handled All right, we got what, 2 minutes? About 1 minute left. In the meantime, let me check news real quick. Do we have any news today? Nope. No news today. Some 9:45 FOMC, some member speaking, doesn't really matter. No news really today to watch out for. ¿Cómo estás? All right. Now this is the 5-minute chart. 5-minute chart. We'll be waiting for that. For that news, There it is. All right. So there's that 5-minute candle. Let's mark out the highs and lows and go from there. There's that range, top of the range, bottom of that range. And then I'll drop down to the 1-minute chart. There it is. We see what we get from here. Ideally, I would like to see this thing drop back down to the bottom. We'll see, though. All right, we're closing outside the top of the range. Crap. Here, give me a second. I'll be back. All right, so now we pretty much closed outside this range. Let's see if what happens here. Can we get a push back into the range? Possibly. Oh, crap. Where can I put this? Let me look real quick. So we're kind of taking out some internal pre-market highs. Still ripping. I want to see if momentum can start to shift here. See sellers start to come back in here, back inside this range. We are at, if you can, let me see if I could show you on a 15-minute chart. Yeah, so you can kind of see we're sweeping that. We just pushed above pre-market highs. Let's see, depending on, does price hold above this 5-minute range or does it push back inside the range? I personally am looking for it to push back inside the range. I want it, that's what I would like it to do. Government opening up back Wednesday, going parabolic over the next few days. Yeah, possible. We could get some rallies. Yeah, that is possible. We'll see. If I get a setup, I'll take it. So far, in the meantime, I'll keep an eye out. Let me look at some different time frames in terms of higher time frame. All right, higher time frames, we're pushing up to that 200 on the hourly chart. As you can see, based on previous history, what has happened when we pushed up to that 200 right there. What happened right there? What happened right there? What happened right there? So what's gonna happen right there? Interesting, but something to keep an eye out. Doesn't have to reject there, but it could. 15-minute chart, kind of just going sideways. Nothing to see on a 15-minute. Same thing probably with the 5-minute. It's just going to be sideways. Yeah. So we'll see. Interesting. Hourly chart looks really interesting to see what's going to happen at that 200 right there. We got a pivot point above there too. Possible rejection. See if sellers can start to come in. We don't have news today. That's just good. I don't have to worry about news. See if sellers can start to step in here. What level is that? Let me mark out that level of pre-market. It's like that 570 level. Yeah. Well, 570 is that pre-market highs. So it's like right here. Okay. Is today going to be one of those days where this thing just rips to the upside and doesn't stop because the government's opening up? I mean, this thing still could retrace. Not to say it won't go back up, but you don't, it's hard to say it could. We do have a lot of, liquidity down there. So idealistically, it would be nice for this thing to kind of drop back down and take out some of these lows before continuing up. That's kind of what I would want it to see. Not just continue going up without taking out any lows. Here's this pullback coming up. Nope, buyers stepping in. Man, buyers are pretty... Yeah. Well, that's the interesting part, that 200 on the hourly chart. We'll see what's going to happen here. I mean, like, actually, yeah, that's... You can see what it's done before, so... We do have... I actually filled that. So... At least some, you know, at least some form of retracement. Maybe kind of retrace off the 200, take out some of these lows before continuing back up past that 200, if it's going to go past the 200. You can kind of see some, you know, stalling up here. It's not really pushing as hard. Now that I say that, it pushes too hard. God, I hope the next 2 days isn't going to be like this, where it just continues rallying to the upside with barely any pullbacks. Because there ain't nothing I could do about that if it's just going to go up and up and up and no. Oh, man. We're still at that 200. You could kind of see what happened even here, right? Like, it didn't always perfectly reject off the 200. Like, look at what happened here. It kind of pushed above the 200, and then we had that massive drop. And what happened? That massive drop kind of pushed down, took out some liquidity, tried to push back up to that 200. This thing's still ripping, though. At some point, you know, it's gonna... It's ripped pretty high above that 200. I mean, above the 5-minute opening range. Which now you gotta be careful in terms of this range holding as support. So now it's like, this thing could drop, hold it as support, to go back up. That was... let me see. That was what? November 5th, which was what? November 5th was... Wednesday. That was last Wednesday. I get it, NASDAQ. No need to rush into things, you know. It's like it's Monday. There's no need to chase this. Guarantee you there's a bunch of people trying to chase this. I mean, this thing's gonna pull back at some point. So, what is the reason to chase this up here? Oh, was it? Last vote to reopen, and then it didn't get enough votes, so then we dropped. I mean, we could realistically push through that 200 based on the bullish, you know, more government reopening. But I would like to see this thing like take out some lows before going up there. Maybe have like a decent sized pullback. And you know, I don't really go based off of like, my sentiment isn't based off of news. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna look for only long setups just because the government's opening back up. Is what I mean. Getting this drop. There's the pullback, but let's see what happens. Can we actually get a decent... Or is it gonna pull back to hold this 5-minute top range as support? If it does, that's fine with me. If, you know, we start to pull back inside this 5-minute range, then it's going to start to look kind of, you know, scary for the bulls. We could kind of drop down and maybe take out those lows down there. We have the 200 right there. We do have a gap right there that's not filled. So probably a gap fill maybe. Hard to say. This week I'm playing long game. Yeah, I just play whatever the market, whatever setup it gives me, but it gives me a short setup, I'll go short. Here we are dropping pretty hard. Wow. Okay. See what happens here at the top of the 5-minute. Dropping pretty hard. No, I don't have those other accounts anymore. I just have my serious accounts now. Honestly, I thought it would help having those like scalper accounts for fun. It really doesn't help. It actually hurts me in a sense of like, when I'm patient on my serious accounts and I can make money, but then when I'm just messing around on my scalper accounts and I like take a loss after loss after loss, it does mess with your mental. Like you're just sitting there like getting wrecked and you're just getting like, you know, still affects you even though they're fun accounts. So I don't have those anymore. Just my serious accounts. All right, trying to bounce off that 5-minute. Told you, see, I mean, it could, trying to hold off that 5-minute range high, bouncing like, look how perfect of a bounce that was off it. Like to the T. If we start breaking back inside this range, it'll be kind of interesting to see. we are still pretty far away from view op. View op is like right near that pivot point down there. So you have this R1 pivot point right there. View op is right at that pivot point. So view op is pretty far to the downside. So price may want to retrace back to view op before, you know, finding enough buyers, you know, to kind of push it back up. So a pullback is, you know, it's happening. And we are kind of, we're still above that. We are still above the pre-market highs though. Interesting to see if this thing can hold this high, or is it going to push back inside this range, possibly going for those lows down there. Buyer's trying to step in again. Where are we on the hourly chart? Trying to keep an eye out on the hourly chart to see. So look at that. Look at that wick starting to form on the hourly chart. Interesting. So if this thing can kind of push up, fail to make a new high, and starts dropping below this low, then it would be interesting to see if we drop this back down. We don't really have much gaps to worry about until we have this gap down here. In terms of higher time frame gaps, I don't think there's much going on. I think that's the same gap. You have that gap right there on the 5 minute. Yeah, so we got some room. Minute. All right. Hourly chart again. Trying to push back up again. Hourly candle. New hourly candle opens up in 5 minutes. So new hourly candle in 5 minutes. Also, right, we could retrace for that kind of 10 a.m. reversal. So if we get like a dump all the way back down for 10 a.m. reversal down here, taking out some of the lows maybe. The buyers are trying to step in here, hold it off the 5 minute high. All right. Is it gonna break the high? Is it gonna break the high? Oh, snap. Wow. I told you, either it's gonna break back inside this 5 minute range and we could go for those lows possibly, or it's gonna hold that 5 minute high. Holding that 5 minute high. You know, literally bounced off it to like almost a T. Wow, going for those highs again. All right, well. Today may be a rally type of day. Having trouble breaking those highs. Kind of forming a double top here. They're probably gonna break it. There it is. Buy. Having 7 out of 10. Yeah, it's good. 70% win rate is a good win rate. See what happens. I think, man, we could just rally today. Or it sweeps it and dumps it. Yeah, buyers are super strong today. I'm just looking for my setup. That's it. I mean, that's what I do day after day. I just look for my setup. If I don't get it, I walk away. It's kind of how you become, you know. I look for my setup and I don't kind of mix anything else up because I keep a tight eye on my data. So that's how I'm able to risk more than a normal trader, is because I keep a tight, you know, eye on my data. Because I trade the same setup every single day, so like all the other noise does not bother me. Like this bounce back up does not bother me. None of that bothers me because it's not my setup. Even though I literally said it could bounce off the 5 minute. We're gonna get either one of two scenarios is gonna happen. We're gonna break back inside this 5 minute range and potentially go for those lows, or we're gonna bounce off the 5 minute high to continue going higher. This thing is showing that it wants to go higher. So today may be just a rally type of day, with just very shallow pullbacks. What it's looking like, which is fine. I mean, I'm looking for, you know, I'm looking for a good risk to reward. I could have taken this. Think about it, right? Even something like this, like theoretically, I could have taken this bounce off the 5 minute, but then where would your stop have to be? You know what I'm saying? Like your stop technically for like the best scenario has to be at the lows. Putting your stop down here is also kind of stupid because it could pull back, fill this imbalance, stop you out, and then run. So having a stop there would not be the smartest thing to do. Smartest thing to do would be have a stop down here, but the risk to reward doesn't make sense. So even though, you know, I saw that move happening, the risk to reward still doesn't make sense for me. So, and it's not my setup. I'm the type of dude that I can wait a whole week for one trade. I don't care. Some weeks I get really good weeks. Some weeks I get slow weeks. It is what it is. I mean, this strategy is what got me funded with 7 accounts. Just being patient. And when I was trying to get funded, right, there were weeks where I took 1 trade a week, 2 trades a week. And there were other weeks where I was taking, 3 trades a week. So, I have no idea what the market... I'm the type of dude, right, is whatever the market gives me, I take it based on my setup. The market wants to, give me my setup, I'll take it. If it wants to run without giving me my setup and just continue making higher highs for the rest of the day, then it is what it is. As of now, we're taking out this, we're sweeping the highs. We'll see. Yeah, because the problem is, if I start taking different strategies, like say I take, I start doing breakout strategy, and then I start doing my strategy, and then I start doing something else, and it's like, my data is all gonna get mixed up. So then, like, if something goes wrong and I go on a little bit of a losing streak or something, I can't, I have no idea what the heck is going on because I'm not keeping track of my data. I can't keep track of my data because I'm trading a bunch of different strategies. But if I'm trading one strategy, I could be so locked in on that data that, if something goes wrong, go on a little bit of a losing streak, I can analyze and I can figure out if I'm doing something wrong or it's just the market. And I can adjust based off of that and kind of protect myself. And that's how I found in my trading, the more patient I am, the more money I make. Because every stupid trade, you have to make that back. Every stupid trade you take, where you didn't follow your rules or something, you got to make that back. So, I would rather wait for really good setups. And even if I wait for my setup and it seems like a really good setup and I get stopped out, bro, I am happy with that. I'm fine with that. Double top pullback. Yeah, I mean, we could get a reversal 1030. 1030 is an area a lot of times where we do get reversals. Today's going to be kind of weird, right? Because of that news. The news that the government's opening up, causing a lot of, a lot of bullish sentiment in the market could cause it just to continue to rally to the upside slowly. And that's kind of the thing, is when you get so much bullish sentiment because of some news, then the pullbacks are very shallow, because you got to think, if everyone's trying to get in, if everyone's bullish because of some news, then like one day like today, you could have like very shallow pullbacks and just continuing to the upside. Now, as the week goes on and that news is kind of gets, the market already takes that news into account, so it's going to be kind of old news, so then we can start getting, better pullbacks. And I think it's a bull trap. See, the interesting part for me right now is that hourly, the 200. Like, is the news strong enough for that the government's opening up to really push through this 200 and like displace above the 200? Not like, because you could see what happened earlier. I think this was on Wednesday, right? We did push through that 200, but then failed to hold, and we got a massive pullback all the way back down. So we are kind of pushing through it. Interesting to see if we can hold it. I mean, it's got to kind of push through, pull back to it, hold it as support to continue going up. Could be ahead and not yet. I'm not gonna talk too soon, but if this thing starts to pull back, could be a head and shoulders. They did vote last night and got 60 votes. Now it's getting sent over to the House for the group. I mean, hopefully, I hope they open up the government. It's been far too long. Look how below. I mean, dude. This thing is starting to... If they can't push it and this starts dropping, it's going to be interesting. Because this is going to... This is a head and shoulders. Head and shoulders is a bearish pattern. Bearish pattern at an area of previous reversal. Could be a red flag. Just saying. Here, give me a second. Alright. Looks like it's starting to... Nope. Alright, we're breaking through it. Never mind. I feel like the market starts to kind of price it in early. Right, so if like there's rumors like, all right, the market's gonna open back up. By the time the market actually opens back up, it'll already be priced into the market. Like the market's already priced it in. So like that's why the government then is gonna open up and it won't really affect any price action. If anything, we could get a pullback, like a sell-off. Kind of the buy the rumor, sell the news type of, like, that's not really news, but buy the rumor, sell the news. So the rumor market's opening back up. We started to get rallies to the upside. Nice, nice, nice. And then boom, market opens up. I mean, government opens up. And then we get a massive pullback. That's possible, so. All right, see, I mean, you can kind of see we're making higher lows. So, but it's not really, like, so far... The buying pressure is not really super strong. I mean, considering the selling pressure, you get a little bit of buyers and it sells off aggressively. Buyers step in. I mean, they're there, but it's just, I would assume it would go faster. We'd get more of a rally up. It's kind of like every little push up, see, it gets taken back down. You get your profits on longs when it opens. You get your pullback. Yeah. Yeah, possible. I mean... I don't know, man. This thing just doesn't have the momentum. It seems like the selling pressure is stronger, is like coming in harder than the buying pressure. Like as soon as we get a little push up, then we get sellers stepping immediately and like aggressively sell it off. But then buyers come back in and push it back up. So it's just like in this range. And you kind of see we had this first high right there, right? So we took out the high, sellers aggressively stepped back in. Then buyers slowly pushed it back up. We took out the high and then sellers aggressively stepped in again. But it is still making higher lows. Well, I'm saying high right here. It's a 1 minute, like on a 1 minute chart, right? You could see there's a low, a pullback, a higher low, an even smaller pullback, a higher low, and now we're starting to break the first low actually in a while. This is the first low that's getting broken. Look at that pullback. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you watch price action, you can kind of see how, I mean, buyers are trying to push it up, but then every like aggressive selling pressure steps in at these highs. It's kind of interesting why there's so much selling pressure. I mean, we're at the 200. That's probably why. And you could see again, we're at that 200 where it's an area of previous reversal. So it's going to be an area where it's going to be hard for buyers to get through to continue pushing this back up, to continue pushing this to the upside higher. It's going to be a very tough area. Higher time frame shows that this is a reversal area. Yeah, buyers are trying to push it up, but there's too much selling pressure coming in at these. And I mean, you gotta understand why. It makes sense why. I mean, we're at the 200, right? For those of you who didn't see me explain this earlier, what happened previously when we're at the 200? Look at just previous history. Look, a bounce off the 200. A bounce off the 200 on the hourly chart. We broke through it. We rejected it to the T. Massive sell-off. We pushed through it, but then we couldn't hold it, so we massive sell-off. Push back up to the 200. Massive sell-off. Where are we right now on the chart? We're right at that 200 area. So, the question is, are we going to get, displacement above it and hold it as support to continue rallying to the upside from the news? Or are we going to get a rejection from it and start really dumping down, maybe take out some of these lows before continuing to try to move back up? Because although the sentiment is bullish, that does not mean we can't get like pretty hard pullbacks. So right now it's just hovering at that 200. It just can't. We're pretty much ranging sideways at that 200. We're taking out highs, but failing to displace higher. See, it just keeps taking out a high and dumping. Taking out a high and dumping. Think it's a good time to sell. No, I mean, I can't tell you where to sell. Just you have to make that individual decision based on your strategy. I'm sure some people's strategy is telling them to go long. So it's like, I'm just showing you based on previous history. That's all I'm showing you, right? Based on previous history, we get rejections at the 200. So I'm not telling you to do anything, but just pay attention to what happened previously at this area. It rejected. So is it possible we could get a rejection from here? Yes. We could get a pretty big pullback. While everybody is like screaming, you know, to go long and stay long, and then the market ends up pulling back super hard. I mean, we are in bullish territory on like a lower time frame, right? We're still above the 200. We're on a lower time frame. We're above the 200. We're above VWAP. I mean, we got a lot of support down here. That's not to say you can't have a massive pullback, take out some of these lows, bounce off the VWAP, rebalance maybe, and then continue going higher. I mean, for me, as long as we hold above this 200, as long as we hold above the 5-minute high opening range, I mean, we're pretty bullish. Once price starts coming back down, for me, closing inside this 5-minute range, leaving behind a bearish imbalance all the way down here, that's going to be like a sign for me that they may want to continue pushing this to maybe take out these lows down here and maybe rebalance to VWAP. In that case, you know, maybe I would be interested in a short. That would be kind of my confirmation area to go if I wanted to take a short. But as of now, we're pretty bullish, so nothing's showing go short really. We're still in bullish territory, pretty much holding that 5-minute high opening range. Do you believe your analysis will go up? I mean, we're in a tough area. You can't. There's no way to know, right? I'm just showing what could. I'm just explaining what could happen. One of two things is pretty much going to happen. Either we're going to start displacing above the 200, which is going to cause us to be pretty bullish, or we're going to start rejecting off this 200. Maybe get some sort of rejection to maybe take out some of these lows and then try to move back up. Trying to consider we do have bullish news that the government's opening back up. So we're just at a very tough area where we're at an area, you got to understand, we're at an area where sellers are scared and buyers are scared, right? So you get this like chop. And you got to remember, right? The market, like what? I want to say 80 to 90% of the market is all bots. It's not people trading. It's all algorithmic trading from hedge funds. So even the algorithms don't know what's going to happen, right? We're at an area where we could reject. That's why you see this chop start to happen. This movement you see, this chop you see is from algorithms. So we're just at an area of uncertainty where sellers are getting scared, buyers are getting scared. Until this thing really starts to displace to the upside and really starts to rip to the upside, it would confirm more bullishness, or if it starts breaking back down to the downside. But as of now, we're just in a chop area. There's nobody knows where this thing is going to go. If this thing's going to pull back hard or rip to the upside hard. It could rip because of news. It could pull back because of previous history. And you see, it's having trouble continuing going up. Because every time we get kind of to this high, right, buying pressure slows down and selling pressure increases. Yeah, exactly. You're either going to make big money or get slaughtered. Yeah. For newbies that don't know what they're, like, people that don't know what they're doing, Yeah, this is a very, like, you got to understand with the market too. When it consolidates for a long time like this, like when it goes sideways and it's just building up, it's building up, and at a certain point, this thing can either explode to the upside or it can explode to the downside. And these kind of consolidation areas, what hurts a lot of new traders, because what they don't understand is that when it explodes to the upside or downside, if you don't have good risk management, if you're wrong, you got to get out. Like, you, especially on these kind of things, you got to accept the loss and get out. Because if you don't get out and it explodes to the upside or downside, and it just keeps going and going and going, and you blow your account because you're thinking, oh, it's just going to bounce here. It's going to bounce here. I'll hold. It's going to bounce. And it doesn't bounce. So that's why, in my opinion, there's really not anything to do in this range. Like, why would you try to guess? Why not wait? Like, you know, wait for confirmation. Depending on your strategy and how long your TP is going to be, you know, it's... Once we kind of start to break out and displace above it, now this can turn into a support level. Now some people can, you know, buy the pullback for the support to continue going higher. And that could be their confirmation. All right, there's starting to break to the upside again. At this, I mean, it really looks like we could just rally hot. Like, you know those days where news is so strong where we get very shallow pullbacks and it just slowly, it doesn't rip to the upside, but it kind of just slowly drifts to the upside, like very slowly. It seems like that's what's happening today. And some people can trade like the news, right? You can trade the news. Technically, like, right? You kind of know what, like, think about it this way, right? The news came out that the government's opening up during the weekend. So the market's closed when this news came out. So, I mean, if you have good risk management, you can play the idea that we're going to get a lot of buying pressure stepping in at market open because of the bullish news coming into the market during the weekend. And plus the rumors, got to think about it this way. What other pretty decent sized news came out during the weekend other than the government opening back up, right? The freaking tariffs check thing that came out, right? Didn't Trump announce that, like, he's planning to give, I know he's been saying this for a while, but like a $2,000 check is supposed to go out. So that's other bullish news. You got to understand that. That's pretty bullish news. You would think that could be bearish news because the government's kind of, you know, giving people a lot of money, but that money kind of stimulates the economy. So all these businesses, Apple, they're going to start, you know, if these $2,000 checks go out, Apple is going to see increased sales. All these massive companies are going to see increased sales because of this. So that's pretty bullish news for the companies. And you think, like, bro, if you think you get a $2,000, like, because technically the $2,000 check, like, high income earners are not going to get the $2,000 check. But think about it this way. Like, CEOs, they're going to get the biggest check of all time because people are going to be investing in the companies. They're going to get record sales, bigger bonuses. So for them, it's like millions of dollars in profit. So it's pretty, what I'm getting at is for company-wise, Apple, all these tech companies, Tesla, these are all pretty big news for, bullish news for these companies, which move the market in a sense. So we are in an area, so that's what I'm saying, it's a very contradictory area. We're in an area of previous history reversal, but we got multiple big news events that came out during the weekend. So was it around February, March? Is that what they said? Yeah, so this check isn't the same thing as a stimulus check, because a stimulus check was meant to stimulate the economy. That was the whole purpose of a stimulus check. This is just a check, just like, I mean, I'm sure there's a deeper thing behind it than just like, we're getting all this money from tariffs, so, you know, you're gonna get a $2,000 check because we're getting all this money from tariffs. I'm sure there's a deeper reason why this check is coming out. I'm sure like Trump has a deeper reason why he would do that, but it will in term, it's not directly a stimulus check, but the effect will be stimulated economy. Like this, the economy will be stimulated because of this check, just as it's a cause and effect type of thing. You're gonna give people a lot of money, people are gonna go out and spend it, especially, you know, well, actually, if it comes out after the holiday season, probably would help a lot of people out, right? After the holiday season, people spend a lot on gifts, on, you know, presents, Christmas, traveling. It would be a good thing to do to give some people, you know, some money. And especially if that's true, if they do give in like February, March, you would get a, like, think about it, you would get a stimulus, you would get a check, plus a lot of people get refunds from tax time, April. So it would really kind of help a lot of people out. I called it though from 9:30 to 10:30 today. Yeah, you did. A lot of times in the market, you'll see, right? Like, I pay attention to time frames too. Like, right? 10 o'clock, a lot of times we get reversals at 10 o'clock, bullish reversals at 10 o'clock. At 10:30, pay attention. A lot of times we get bearish reversals at 10:30. You'll start to see if the market doesn't go anywhere, 10:30, you start to see a reversal at 10:30 if it can't go anywhere. Not all the time, but it's a pattern that you do start to notice. It happens enough times that you're like, oh, okay, it happens. It could happen now. And I am like, if I'm in a long, right? If I'm in a long position and I'm trying to hit TP and it's getting to that 10:30 mark, I'm very aware that we could sell off. So I do pay attention to that. I'm assuming on the time frame because it takes a few months to put together and distribute. Yeah. I mean, it wouldn't take long. Honestly, it would not take super long, considering most people, like for example, for me, I have, the IRS has my banking information. So like last time when they sent out stimulus checks, you're right, they sent out actual checks. I think some people, I don't know if some people got direct deposits and some people got checks. I think I got a check in the mail. So yeah, it takes time to send out, you know, millions of checks. I mean, I would assume that if this thing does like actually get sent out, I would assume they would want to do it before that April time frame, because they're going to be super overwhelmed with, you know, people filing taxes in April. So you don't want to be caught in doing these checks and taxes. So I would assume, yeah, that they would want to do it before. Ideally, it would be cool if they would do it before Christmas, but I doubt that that's going to happen. But we are still just chopping sideways. I mean, what are you supposed to do here? Yeah, I mean, it has the same effect. Yeah, it stimulates the economy. But it's not technically a stimulus check. Like, that's not the reason for the check. Your pullback coming now. Yeah, I mean, if it gives me a confirmation, like, right, what I'm looking for, I'm all on board. But it doesn't look like, I mean, every time it pulls back, it's just freaking gets bought back up. I'm telling you, it's one of those days where it's like a super slow grind to the upside. You almost think, like, it is still grinding to the upside, even though it kind of looks like it's chopping, but you could see, like, that very slow momentum to the upside. I don't know. It's, for me to get an actual setup, I mean, we would need a pullback, like a real pullback, not this, like, dinky little pullbacks. Like, you technically could catch a trade off of this, but, you know, you're going to get in long. It's going to stop you out, take out a low, you know. Imagine somebody who got long right here. Right here. Somebody gets long right there. They're like, all right, we're going for the highs. Boom, this thing pulls back, stops you out, and then rips right back to the upside. And you're like, what the? This thing is rigged. Is it only on a plan through January? Are you serious? Go fishing. Yeah, it's a time to walk away. I mean, I'm gonna wait a little longer, but it doesn't look like I mean, this thing doesn't want to give me anything. I'm gonna call first thing. Yeah, it's a day where you could be right and still lose money if your entry is bad. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and it's like, I don't want to be caught in, like, sideways. It does give me still, like, right, if I'm still in a trade and this sideways action is happening, like, I hate this. I would hate this. Even if I'm correct, going through all this, I've been through that before, where I get a setup and this thing chops immediately after my entry. And even though your TP gets hit, it's like all this crap, just like every little pullback, it still gives you kind of anxiety, right? Like, you're still following your plan, but I prefer, like, trades that go, I enter, pulls back, boom, goes immediately to TP. I know that's not always going to happen, but most of my trades are like 5 minutes. This I don't want to play with. Walk away, market's just stalling at this point. Yeah. It's like it's like we have enough bullish news to go up, but we're at an area where there is a lot of selling pressure at the same time. So it's almost like balancing each other out. And nobody wants to essentially pull the trigger, like, to actually push this thing up. You got to think, even hedge fund algorithms, they don't know. People think, like, the market, like, the big dogs, they know where the market's going. Like, at the same time, you got to understand that the market is the bots. Like, literally, it's hedge fund bots pretty much fighting against each other. And, I mean, obviously, a hedge fund doesn't want to get caught with their pants down trying to long this thing, and then somebody else steps in, fakes him out, and then drops it right back down, and they lose money. Like, hedge funds lose money too. It's not like hedge funds know exactly where this is going, and that's why you see this sideways action. Nobody wants to pull the trigger. Like, nobody wants to make the first move. So you get this, like, you know, maybe eventually you'll start to see some really sellers step in or buyers step in aggressively. It's kind of interesting to see. Yeah, and you gotta understand, like, if you are in a, like, if you're in a long position, you gotta understand that, like, if it's not going to your area, if it's chopping sideways, like, even for my strategy, what I'll see, if I'm in a, say I was in a long position, hypothetically speaking, if I was in a long position and I was targeting highs up there and it starts chopping sideways like this, that becomes a red flag for me, because I understand if it fails, if it's failing to go hot, like, continue going higher and higher, at some point it's gonna go lower. So you got to ask yourself at one point, maybe you put your stop at break even, maybe, you know, take profits and walk away and just not play with this chop and get out a little early and just take your profits. Yeah, there's no momentum. Oh, absolutely. People, hedge funds get wrecked just like retail traders do. I mean, it's literally a war. It's 80% of the market is algorithmic. So it's Citadel's bots fighting against Goldman Sachs bots fighting against, and they're all fighting against each other based on their, you know, they're programmed. So essentially they're all kind of like, just like, it's kind of funny. And then we're kind of like, you know, we're in the way. A lot of people say like, oh, they're coming, you know, hedge funds are coming for retail stops and stuff like that. Bruh, they're not coming for your stop. If your stop, like, right, if your stop was here and it pulled back and stopped you out and then ripped to the upside, they didn't come for your stop. You just happened to be in the way. So when you get stopped out, you're just happen to be in the way. You're just like, we're, as retail traders, we're like a little tiny fish and they're literally sharks swimming around. You're just, if the shark is going for a big fish, and if a little fish is in the way, you're gonna get swallowed up too. That's just how it works. It's not that they're coming for you. The shark doesn't care about your, you know, little tiny orders. If you're in a live market. Most people are trading prop firms, which aren't even live markets, so it's not, doesn't even matter. Yeah, it's a slow day. We're good for longs. It's a, I guess this is a weird area here. You got to be super careful with longs, with shorts. You got to be very careful here. Because, I mean, it may be a good, even if it may be a good time to just not trade today. Honestly speaking, maybe a good time to not take anything. Unless you get a confirmation, right? Again, we have bullish news. We have two separate bullish news events that came out during the weekend. But we're at an area of previous reversal where you could see it reversed really hard off this area previously, multiple times. 1, 2, 3. I mean, 3 times. So now it's like there is bullish news. It's trying to push up, but at the same time, you get sellers step in just as aggressive. And then you get this like sideways action right here, this sideways chop. Until eventually it's gonna break to one direction. When that's gonna happen, I don't know. That's why you can't really guess. You have to wait for confirmations. Like if you want to take this long, wait for whatever confirmation based on your backtesting that you look for. It's, remember, some of the most profitable traders in the freaking world are some of the most patient traders. There's a famous quote, there's a famous saying from, I think, Warren Buffett, where the market pretty much like redistributes money from those who are impatient to those who are patient. You get, you know, impatient people who are sitting there trying to take every single little pullback and trying to long every single little move, and then the real profitable traders are sitting on their hands. They're waiting. They may not take a trade today. They may not take a trade tomorrow, but they're waiting for that trade to set itself. They're like a sniper, right? They're sitting there waiting for that perfect trade, waiting for their setup. And then their setup comes, and boom, they take a trade, and they make good money. While everyone else is trading chop and trying to catch these little tiny moves. That's the hard part about trading. It's contradictory to everything else you're gonna do in life. Everything else. Everything else tells you productivity is... Dude, look at these candles. That is wild. They're like perfectly symmetrical. What's it called? What was I gonna say? Trading is different from everything in life. Everything else in life, any business you would start, right? Typically, you work harder. The more work you put in, the more money you make, the more you get out of it. Trading is the complete opposite. When you learn how to trade and you have a strategy, the less you do, the more you make. It's like, it's freaking crazy. So then the patience becomes even harder, because it's hard to come in. So hypothetically, it's hard to come in for Monday. You sit there, no trade. Tuesday, you come in, you sit there, no trade. And you're just waiting and waiting. And it gets pretty hard. I'm not gonna lie. But you gotta ground yourself and tell yourself, you know, it's hard, but when you get to a level when you're trading 7 accounts, like I'm trading 7 accounts, right? I theoretically can take 1 trade a week and still make like 10 grand a month. That's 1 trade a week. That's me being sitting on my hands all week long. I take more than 1 trade a week, but I'm just saying, hypothetically speaking, if I only took 1 trade a week, that's still a $10,000 month just for sitting on your hands. And then you break that down by hourly. Break it down. I trade for what? An hour and a half per day. 9:30 till 11 o'clock, I trade. If you make, you know, you work a whole week, and if you make even, let's say, $2,600, but you worked 7 hours, technically speaking, even when you're waiting, even when you're sitting there on your hands, you're still getting paid. Because once you get that good trade, you hit that profit, you get paid, say, $2,600, divide that by how many hours you were sitting and waiting. That ends up being, you know, a lot of money. Even 1 trade a week still ends up being like $400 an hour for sitting there and waiting. So just look at it that way, and it helps you be more patient. And I guess it's like, I don't know if it's something that everyone has to learn the hard way. I don't know. I definitely had to learn the hard way. I wish I didn't. Like, I wish, but I don't see how I would have, like, the thing about it is I don't see how I would have learned any other way. Like, me thinking back at myself when I started to trade, if somebody would have came up to me and said, listen, the less you do, the more you make. Find a strategy, backtest the strategy, prove that the strategy is profitable in backtesting, forward test the strategy, then you get confirmation from your backtest based on your forward testing, like actual trading it, and then you get confidence in it, and then it's just a matter of sitting on your hands and waiting, and don't take any other stupid trades. I would have just been like, my finger still itches to take a trade, you know, especially when you're new at trading. When you're new at trading, you want to get these dopamine hits. You want to take a trade, you know, make $100 in 2 minutes, and you're like, you're on top of the world. You're like, holy crap, I just made $200 in a minute. That is wild. And you're trying to chase these dopamine hits. But eventually, over time, trust me, when you start trading, at least for me, like, I don't really chase those hits anymore. I'm just more like, I'm at the point where it really unfazes me in terms of, like, the only thing that affects me now is if I don't stick to my plan. If I break my rules, that affects me. Even if I take a loss, it does still hurt a little bit just because I'm human, right? I don't want to lose, but I know based on, you know, based on previous history of my strategy, bro, I'll make it back. It's no big deal. This is NASDAQ. NASDAQ futures. All right, we're coming back to that 5-minute bottom. I mean, we're like 12 minutes away from the hourly candle opening up too at the same time. We're at like the 11 o'clock mark where it really starts to like slow down. But we are starting to get some of a rejection here. Interesting to see that new hourly candle open up in like 12 minutes. It's tough. It's tough. We got VWAP. VWAP down there. Right near the bottom. VWAP is pretty much the bottom of that 5-minute range. To be exact, it's 528 level. So literally VWAP is right on top of that 5-minute bottom. Also, I mean, we'll see. We're coming to that 5-minute high. 200's right there, so this could be another bounce area. Appreciate the support. Thank you, guys. Any way I can help. I mean, me doing these lives too, it does help me too. Honestly speaking, it does help me. And like, it's a win-win for me. If I can help other people in their trading and it helps me, and the way it helps me is like, just psychologically speaking, when you talk through your trades, when you're talking through the market, it really helps you out. Like when I'm just explaining what's going on in the market and talking through it out loud, it helps me process it better. Starting to break that 5-minute. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Bro, I don't even know if I like want to take this trade if it sets up at this point. It's 11 o'clock. Bro, last thing I want to do is get caught and chop. Bro, this is tough. Oh. Let's move that. Man. Back inside this 5-minute range. If we can get a push back up, I'll be interested in a possible short. If this thing just breaks these lows, my idea is short right now if I can get a push back up. If I can get a push back up for an entry short, I'll take it. If it goes back and sweeps out these lows without pushing back up, then pretty much invalidates that trade. As long as we don't take out these lows, I'm still good for a potential short. And I would be going in a little bit less size than usual just because of like where we are. trying to push back up, but let's see. We're bouncing off view up. We're trying almost at view up, not quite. A little more to view up. Wow. While we wait for this, I'll be back. Just get a second.
Welcome home, Columbia. Beautiful, beautiful. Discovery's core computers now have primary control of critical vehicle functions. Liftoff of mission 41B, the first flight of the orbiter Discovery, and the shuttle has cleared the tower.
Discovery Houston, trim to ATO.
Nice to be in orbit. Beautiful, beautiful.
Nope. I was hoping it could give me a little bit of a push up, at least to this, like, the beginning of this imbalance right here. Kind of this area right here. Just a little bit of a push up so we can kind of push up, reject, and go for those lows possibly. That's kind of what I would be looking for. But once it takes out these lows, once these lows get taken out, it invalidates it. I don't care if it goes back up, then it invalidates it, that trade. So we'll see. Hang on, let me zoom in a little bit better so you can kind of see. So those lows are pretty much, it would need to break view op to go for those lows, actually. The only thing is view op is right there. It's kind of let me look at the hour. What does the hourly chart look like? We had a pretty big pullback, right? Yeah, look at that hourly chart. It's starting to go. I mean, I think it could go for those lows. We've got view op there, but sucks. This is part of it. I mean, you get a trade set up and it leaves without you. You're waiting for so long for this exact setup, and now it's just leaving without me. Without giving me an entry. Trying to bounce off view up. Yeah, we could go. This was my initial, like, this was what I was looking for. The whole time I was sitting there looking for this job. This is my confirmation. This is the strategy I look for every day, but it's, looks like it just left without me. Ideally, I want to see a push back up, you know, a push back up. I can't get in at the bottom. I need a little push back up to get in. It's been a scary day. Yeah, it's been a weird day. I wish this move happened at like 10 o'clock, at like 9:45. Or it was like 9:45, around 10. This would be such a good move if it was earlier. The other thing that scares me is it's 11 o'clock, right? We're like, market tends to slow down at 11. I would still get in it. If it gives me the opportunity, I'll get in. But if not, then can't do anything about it. Ugh, man. I feel like it's gonna break view up to the downside. Anyway, it doesn't seem like it's getting the buying pressure that it needs to off view up to continue going up. A lot of times, right, you see it push back, pull up to view up, and then you kind of get a aggressive buying pressure starting to step in. Here, it's like we're at view up, and sellers look like they're still stronger than buyers based on price set. Right, there it is, breaking view up. There it is. Freaking hey. Bruh. It left without me. So the confirmation I was talking about earlier was this right here. This is what I look for every single day, but some days like today is just it forms, but I don't get the setup, but I don't get the entry that I need. Right? 5-minute range. I said in the morning, right? In the morning I said, gotta watch for this 5-minute range. If we hold this 5-minute range, we're gonna go higher. If we break, for me, breaking back into that 5-minute range is gonna be like a red flag for bulls, right? For the people longing, that's a red flag when it enters back inside this 5-minute range, especially leaving behind a bearish gap. So that's what I look for every day. When this broke above, as soon as price broke above this 5-minute range and closed right here, I'm looking for shorts. But for me to enter on shorts, I need confirmation, right? This is why I stayed out of all this. There's nothing to trade here. The first confirmation I got was this candle right here. Why? Because, right, there's a bearish gap back inside the 5-minute range. So not only did it close back inside the 5-minute range, but it left behind a bearish gap inside the 5-minute range. That's why my entry, I wanted price as soon as where this candle closed down here, I wanted price. My finger was already to put an order in right here inside this gap, because I wanted price to come back in, fill me, and then continue for that low. Is what I kind of look for every day. But like I said, you get times like today where it gives you the setup, but it doesn't give you the entry you want. And I'm not getting all the way down here. The risk to reward is stupid. I need a push back up. Didn't get that today, but the trade still worked out, right? The idea, the strategy still worked, even though I didn't get the entry that I wanted. That was the confirmation I was waiting for the whole time. All this chop. There's your confirmation. And look at that. After that, look at that. It just dumped immediately back down for these lows. And now the fact that it took out these lows, even if it comes back, now that it took out these lows, it could come back and inverse this gap and just continue ripping to the upside. And at that point, it invalidates this trade. So, because it already took out those lows. Oh, yeah, so. It's because of what Trump just posted on Truth? Really? What did he say? I need to get some kind of like indicator. Bruh, somebody that knows how to code, please make an indicator called the Trump indicator. And what would be cool is if you have an indicator tied to your brokerage, so every time Trump tweets something, a little indicator pops up that Trump tweeted. I'm surprised nobody, maybe there is something like that. All right, what did he say? 11:06 a.m. Wait, what? Oh, this is November 4th. Hold on. He tweeted 19 minutes ago. That was still, so that drop, I don't think that drop was from, was it? So he tweeted 20 minutes ago. What time? So that was about, let's call it 10:40, 10:43. 10:43. Yeah, so we saw this, this pullback that started really, I guess, accelerated. So he said all money left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income USA citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries, which will be substantial, will be used to substantially pay down the national debt. Thank you for your attention in this matter. Like, what? I don't get it. All the money left over from $2,000 payments made. I don't get it. So what? There's not going to be any $2,000 checks? I'm confused. I don't get what he means by that. Does it mean that there's not going to be $2,000 checks? It kind of seems like it. All money left over from $2,000 payments made to low, but there's no payments made yet. So that's what confuses me. The post before that? What was before this? There was nothing before it. That was 20 minutes ago. I don't see anything before it. All right, so I guess, gosh, I wish I would have got an entry here. Man, what a good trade. And Trump helped out. So I guess that's why the market's selling off, is because people aren't going to get the $2,000. So it's not going to... Yeah, I don't see any tweet before that. That's the last tweet that I see of him. Is that 21 minutes ago. And then the air traffic controllers was after that. That was after that. That air traffic controller tweet was 33 minutes ago, and then that tweet was 22 minutes ago. So air traffic controllers must get back to work now. Anyone who doesn't will be substantially docked. For air traffic controllers who were great patriots and didn't take any time off for the Democratic shutdown hoax, I will be recommending a bonus of $10,000 per person for distinguished service to our country. For those that did nothing but complain and took time off, even though everyone knew they would be paid in full shortly in the future, I am not happy with you. I mean, I don't think that would like crash the market. I think what really caused the market to sell off was the payments, the $2,000 payment. Bro, that kind of bummer, man. This was a really nice short. It is what it is. The market teases you. It gives you a setup but doesn't give you the entry. I am still happy, you know, the strategy works, you know, strategy is still working. But $1,000 profit from his post. I don't think, here's the thing. I don't necessarily think that, like, I don't necessarily think that massive drop was only because of the post. I think it almost, honestly speaking, it did seem like the market was wanting to pull back. Like, maybe that news really just propelled it to where it was going to go anyways. Because you can kind of see it was stalling out. It wasn't going higher. It had a lot of trouble going higher. And then, you know, he tweeted at 40, I think I did 43. 38, 39, 40. Yeah, so pretty much he tweeted when it was selling off right here. So market was starting to sell off right here, and then he tweeted, and then the market really just started to dump aggressively. But it was already starting to sell off before that. So maybe he kind of like just propelled it to where it was going to go anyways. Whatever. It don't matter. It don't matter. If what it is, you know, market's still sold off. But All right, what time is it? 11 o'clock. All right, I think I'm gonna call it here. Sadly, like I said, I got the setup, just did not get the entry I wanted. I wanted to enter off this gap right here. I was about to place an order there. If price would have came up closer, I would have placed the order, but didn't get it. Took out those lows. Now that trade's pretty much invalidated because my idea was for it to pull up, retrace up to here, and then reject for those lows. So then my, risk to reward would be amazing because stops would have to be above the highs. Well, not amazing, pretty much a 1-to-1. Stops would have to be above the highs, and then my TP, right, would have to be these lows down here. So pretty much a 1-to-1, but I have to, like I said, even though the setup's there, I have to wait for that pullback. I have to wait for that kind of push up, because if I would have entered here, that risk to reward would have been horrible. So it just didn't give it to me. So it's all right. We'll come back tomorrow. It's fine. We still got a whole week. So maybe tomorrow we get another, another good setup that actually gives me an entry. But other than that, yeah, we took out these lows. Now we're starting to kind of potentially rip back up to the upside. We're still kind of testing view up here, so it hasn't broken back above it. But I'll be back tomorrow. We'll see. Be patient. We'll wait for another setup tomorrow and see if we actually get the entry tomorrow. If I actually get the entry tomorrow. So, you'll have a good day. Don't overtrade. Be patient. If you missed out, don't revenge trade. Don't try to chase this thing. It is what it is. You missed it. You missed it. It is. But yeah. Please don't blow your accounts. Please be patient. It's not worth it. Tomorrow's gonna come. There's gonna be another day tomorrow, and then, we still have a whole week. You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're making back profits for the rest of the month or for 2 weeks, right? You don't want to put yourself in that position. If you take a loss, you want to be able to come back tomorrow and make back that loss if you get a good trade. So, that being said, y'all have a good day. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.